right, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the TMRW Podcast. We got special guest Lindsay Arnold, Cusick. I'm Kevin Robinson, Donnie McGinnis. Lindsay, thank you for your time. Holy crap, I can't believe we're here with you in person. How are you?
Excited.
I was going to say, how you feeling?
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Look, not that you need an introduction, but let me go ahead we have a little bit of a different audience here. So for those who don't know Lindsay, crawl out from under the rock you're living in. She's been on...
She really has done nothing.
I don't know.
I was going to say most recognized for Dancing with the Stars, and did some time on So You Think You Could Dance. Very, very fascinating career that you've had. You started at such a young age. We're going to talk about it all, and even more so, kind of what you're doing now. You're still progressing and still charging along in your career, and it's very, very impressive. So let's talk about it.
Yes, let's do it.
So Lindsay, you come from a dancing family, right?
Yes.
So you've got Jensen, Riley, Brinley, all your sisters, mom and dad, whole nine. You guys have been dancing since you were kids. Is that right?
That is correct. It's crazy. Actually, you say dancing family because my parents are not dancers at all.
They don't dance?
So, no, not at all. But now I feel like they're fully part of the dancing family, obviously. But since I was the oldest, it just kind of happened. It wasn't like it was something that everybody knew was going to happen for our whole family. So it's crazy that you say that, because looking back, it's like I don't think my parents, when they first started me in dance, saw that we would become a full-on dancing family.
See, now that's curious to me, because when I see Josh, I think, yeah, he dances. Like when I think about Josh, I think that man dances.
I mean, he does. I will say, if you had to pick my mom or my dad, I would choose my dad as more of a dancer. He definitely has the freestyle down, that's for sure.
And because you can just laugh at him.
Yeah, it's true. He's more willing to just put himself out there, I feel like.
By the way, got to put a plug in for Josh. I went and saw him the other day. I was having a little bit of arm soreness. Now I feel like it's brand new. I don't even want to use my arm anymore. I feel like I just want to keep it wrapped.
What did he do? Did he just speak good energy into your arm?
He did. He actually didn't have to do any procedures. He just talked comfort to my soul.
Yeah, it made you feel better.
I did. I walked out and said, man, that Josh, he's something special.
Yeah,
man.
he's great. We're very lucky.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's funny too.
He is.
So neither of your parents dance. How did they introduce you? Why put the girls in dance then?
I mean, I don't really know, but from what my mom said, basically I was a very busy child, like very busy, too busy to where she was like, you need to have something that gets your energy out. And I think it was just a very natural thing to like put your daughters in dance.
Sure.
I mean, they put me in soccer too, was terrible at it, like absolutely horrible. My dad actually coached our team and I just was terrible. So that ended pretty quickly, but dance stuck. And obviously it stuck for a really long time. But yeah, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't like this like planned thing of like our daughter is going to be a dancing star. It was just like, let's put her in something.
I was going to say, of all things to put you guys into, they did hit the gold mine.
They really did.
Like,
I think they were really, and let everyone know, I am Lindsay's favorite family member.
Yeah, that's for those who don't know.
Lindsay's my sister-in-law.
We'll go with that.
But with that, each one of them danced. But Mindy, my mother-in-law, Lindsay's mom, they even opened up a studio for a while. Like, so they were like fully invested.
So this is as they started to see that you girls were getting good. They opened up their own studio. I didn't know that. How long ago was that?
That was when I was like maybe 11 or 12.
Okay.
And they had it open for like about 10 years.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that was the time where all of us now are in dance. I think Riley was, the youngest, was still a baby, but I think they just saw that it's like, this is what we're doing, and let's create a space that we can kind of help control and like make sure it's the right and great environment for our daughters to dance in. And I'm so grateful for that, because I think that it really makes or breaks your experience as a dancer and your abilities as a dancer, where you train, what competitions you go to. And I feel like my parents really honed in on like the best of the best with that. That's
very cool. I don't know a ton about the dancing world, but to my understanding, very time consuming and expensive, right? To get into and to continue to do.
Absolutely.
So when did they start to realize, or, so did you say you were 5 years old when you started dancing?
I think 3, honestly, I think it was like 3 or 4,
young,
wow. Very young. But I mean, when you're that young, it's not very, you're just showing up. Like I have my daughter in dance class right now, and it's kind of like glorified daycare, but it's really fun. And it's a good like intro to learning how to do things. But I would say it didn't get like, and this sounds crazy, but like, I feel like it got serious when I was like 8 years old. Like that's when it was like, oh, I really like this. And it was kind of the choice between, are we just doing this for fun? Or are we going to join all the competitive teams? Are we going to get a ballroom partner, go to all the competitions? And that's when we decided, my parents were like, yeah, let's do this. So when I was 8 is I feel like when things really started competitively, like that's when we took it seriously.
And so what is that, Lindsay? Is that like, so you're 8 years old, are you entering in like just a bunch of recitals? Are you in competitions? How does that like start to become a thing? Like, okay, she can really do this. You're seeing it more than just in practice. Are you in competitions or what's happening when you're that age?
So typically around that age, that's when you start being part of competitive teams at your dance studio. So like I'd audition to make it onto the competitive team. And then from there, the studio goes to a number of competitions throughout the year. So with that, like I was just doing what my team was doing. We were going to different competitions, conventions all across the country, honestly, like at least 2 or 3 times a month. And then on top of that, which not everybody does, but I decided I wanted to do ballroom competitively. So this is where you're kind of more on your own with it. Like I had to find my own ballroom partner. And by me, I mean my mom found me a ballroom partner.
Yeah.
And then she's the one setting up the private lessons and deciding which competitions we want to go to. So that's less of a team aspect and more of like, you do as much as you want to do. But we really, like, I'm really grateful that my mom really pushed us in that direction, because I would say for sure, one of the things that sets me apart in my career is the fact that I was trained in ballroom.
I was going to say, because ballroom, like on the show Dancing with the Stars, like it's going to revolve around a lot of ballroom dancing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And is that not something that typically is happening here in Utah? Or is that kind of what sets you?
It's a smaller crowd, but I will say it's happening more because of people like me, Whitney Carson, Chelsea Hightower, Julianne Hough, Derek Huff, like people from Utah that have really like paved the way of like, if you're not well-rounded in all styles, like opportunities aren't going to come as often for you. So I feel like more now than when I was younger. But when I was younger, the studio I danced at, we were really the only studio that cross-trained in the way that we did. And
it's just a lot more money too.
It is.
I mean,
so much more
talk
money.
about an expensive dress.
Oh,
That's expensive. Yeah.
ballroom is
You got to pull a mortgage out.
Yeah, literally.
you got to pull a mortgage out.
Literally, it's so expensive.
Yeah.
Costumes and everything. So my parents paid for us to go to dance at a dance studio, train with our team and all of that. But then on top of that, like I said, like private lessons for ballroom dancing are so expensive.
Crazy.
Like so. Yeah, an hour. If you want to train with the top coaches, which you do. Like that's the thing. I feel like there's different things in life where it's like, you pay a hefty price and it's kind of just to say you did it. No, like you've got to pay the hefty price to get the proper training, to get put in the places that you want to be in. So it's a lot. I'm gearing up for that with 2 girls now. I'm like, whew, okay, we got to be ready for that.
You know, it's funny because it makes sense. So I love sports. I love sports. And I would categorize dancing in that light as a sport, right?
Thank you.
I mean, 100%. I mean, I look at some of the things, some of the regimes that these people are doing. It's like, holy cow, the best athletes on the planet wouldn't have a prayer at doing some of the things that you guys are doing.
It's true.
but I think about athletes that like make it to the collegiate level and then onto the professional level. Typically, you're not finding that these individuals started doing that sport when they're 15 or 16 years old. You find that they found a niche for it, when they're pretty young.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you, Lindsay. So you're, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. How many hours a day are you putting in when you're that young at that level?
When you're young, I would say, I mean, every year it gets progressively more. Like, for example, my daughter's in a dance class right now, and it's 1 day a week for an hour, and she's 3.
Okay.
But then I feel like every year that you get older, it's a little bit more. I would say by the time I was 8, I was at dance every single day, at least 3-4 hours.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking Riley.
Yes.
Her youngest sister.
And Riley currently
she's
on Dancing with Stars
right now.
Yes.
I mean, I remember she'd finish school. She'd be at dance from 3 o'clock till about 9, 10 at night.
Every day. Yeah.
I mean, so you're talking a full-time 6-8 hours a day.
I was at dance more than I was at school, because I also would like get out of a period
early.
so that I could go to dance.
Lindsay, did you ever, because you love it.
Yes.
Did you, but the grind, did it ever get to the point where you just started to hate it? I mean, at such a young age, a lot of times you get to that make or break where it's like, okay, I love this, but now I'm starting to hate it. Did you flirt with that at all?
Oh, yeah. As a teenager, I was such a little stinker. I just was like, I don't want to go to dance. But my parents were like, no, you do this. I'm really glad, because I had friends who didn't want to do it and had that attitude, and their parents were like, okay, let's not do it then.
Yeah.
And like, I get that. But at the same time, like my parents were very much, if you start something, you're going to finish it. Like you start your year with your team, you're going to go, and you're not going to be lazy. You're going to go to every class that you can be to. It also was a big thing that my parents were studio owners, because I feel like they also were like, we've got to set an example. Like if you're going to go here, if you're going to be part of this team, you've got to be committed.
Yep.
But yeah, there was those times that
But I think all those times too really did like kind of pave that path of like, this was all worth it. Say even, I mean, I'll use Brinley, my wife, for example, right? She's obviously not on Dancing with the Stars or never will be. Yeah. But I think there's a work ethic that you learn from that, of just hours of tedious, just being around probably some annoying people too sometimes.
Yeah.
Of like, you learn so many life lessons in that to help progress you to a stage where you're in life now of like, I have hard work ethic. I can get through hard things, right? I think there's a lot to kind of learn from that.
Oh, 100%. I tell people all the time, like, because I feel like sometimes people ask, like, is dancing worth it if you hadn't, like, made it to where you are now? And I'm like, 1,000,000 times yes. Like, I will push my girls, if they want to be dancers, I will push them to be the highest level at what they do, whatever sport it is, because I think that what you learn doing that is going to help you and set you up for no matter what comes later on in life. 100%.
There's an age-old saying, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like, yeah, even if they are trying their best to become like the world's best dancer, even if they don't, whatever it is that they do in life, they carry that work ethic.
But not only with that, though, I think especially in today's age, and like, people just want everything handed to them.
Yeah.
Like, sure, every once in a while, right place and time, it is. But I mean, it's stuff like Lindsay's done and her sisters, right? Of like going through all that tedious stuff. The tedious stuff is where you become better.
Oh, for sure.
Right. I mean, I even think of it in like the industry we're in right now with like just sales reps in general. Like, the more you knock, the more sales you're going to get. The tougher it gets, the better it'll get. So,
yeah.
Well, and it's interesting to think, because a lot of people, like, I feel like you forget, and I feel like this is for athletes too. Like, yes, once athletes become known, all you see is them being this thing that you know of them.
Yeah.
But you forget that there was years and years and years and thousands of hours that went into mastering their craft that went unnoticed, that were unpaid. It's not like all those years of training and dancing. I mean, I loved it. I was a kid and I loved it. But like, if you think about it as that was me building up and preparing to do my career, it's not like that was like anything that I wasn't getting anything from it at the time, but the payoff later on is huge. So it's like, you never know what you're doing now, how that's going to prepare you for something even better in the future.
Think that's one of the most impressive things about the journey, right? Is that you never, I mean, you have a destination, you have a trajectory and a goal, but you never truly know like where it's going to end or where it's going to take you. And keeping that mental fortitude of like, look, I'm going to keep this grind, because when I do get to that big stage, that's my shining moment. I'm going to be prepared for it.
Yep.
Lindsay, that's a great transition. I want to talk about this. So I think on any level, whether it's, sports or it's, let's say that you're a comedian or you're an actor or whatever the case may be, when you want to get on that next level, certainly some sacrifices that you have to make, and obviously you have to be good at what you're doing. But talk to us a little bit about, so you auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance before you were on Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
How do you even get in a position to audition? Like, what does that look like?
So actually, back when I was back in my time, anybody could show up.
Because Lindsay's so old.
I am old. Like, I think that was 12 years ago that I did that.
12 years, when you say that, that's a long time. Yeah, 12 years is a lifetime.
That's a long time.
That's a
I feel
lifetime.
very old. But back like then, anybody could show up and audition. If you've watched the show, it's definitely evolved. Like, I was back in the days where literally anybody could turn up and show up to the audition, and you'd have the funniest, most terrible auditions. Like, it's kind of like American Idol, where you're getting all the different things. So it didn't require anything. I mean, literally anybody could show up, but I will say I didn't want to do it, and I almost didn't. That was another moment where I was like, Mom, no, like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to go tell all my friends I'm auditioning, not make it on the show, be embarrassed. Like, I had no faith in myself, and I really did not want to do it at all. My mom fully forced me, because she's like, what do you mean? Like, this is what I put money into. Like, you're doing this.
No, we invested in you. Yeah.
And so I'm really glad she made me do it, because obviously it worked out so well. But I will say, it's like, if you're asking what I did to prepare for it, unknowingly, I mean, all the training I did prepared me for that moment.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that set me apart on So You Think You Can Dance is, for that show, you have to pick a style to audition as. So I auditioned as a ballroom dancer, even though I've trained in everything. But there are less ballroom dancers that audition. And on top of that, there's less ballroom dancers who then can do other styles. So I already had an advantage, because I was very diverse in my training, which I tell people all the time. If anybody asks for advice, I'm like, you've got to be diverse. You've got to have a little bit of everything. And I feel like I feel like some people say that that's not good. Like you don't want to be like master, like what is it?
Good at everything, but great at nothing.
But nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you can be great at everything and good at everything.
Yeah,
like just
totally.
do it. Like
100%.
And also fake it till you make it is a huge thing. Like I tell dancers all the time, like go for it, put yourself out of your comfort zone. So that was my biggest thing that I did. I think going into that was just being diverse in my training and very like well-versed with everything. And then, got on that show. It was a whirlwind of like, literally I was signing up for classes to go to college. I had a full ride academic scholarship and I was like, this is not going to happen.
That's not true.
You hear this guy?
Especially this guy. I didn't go to college, so that means I'm really not very smart.
Oh,
but I
funny.
actually did. I mean, it was to UVU. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, it counts. It counts. Hey, no offense to the UVUers out there.
I was a UVUer.
Yeah, that's true, Donnie. Jeez, I could have whooped your butt in school.
You probably would have.
Probably would have. But I didn't, even as I was doing it and things were going well for me, I didn't necessarily know or think like, this is it. Like I was like, okay, I'll go to the audition. I'm not going to make it. So I was like ready to go to college. Like I was like, that was my plan A, honestly, because I didn't think that doing everything I did was ever something that I could actually do.
How invaluable of a role that your mom played, right? Because
oh my gosh,
I think we can all, at least relate in some aspects. Like you feel that you're good at something, you have a certain skill set, but all too often you are doubting yourself internally, right? And
100%.
It sometimes takes somebody from an outside perspective to say, hey, no.
Do it.
You've got to do this. Like, let's push you over the fence. Thank goodness she did. So
I think both your parents, though, like Josh and Mindy, have done that with each one of you.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're so good at like motivating and pushing, even to the extent of like, if I don't want to, they're going to say, no, you're going to go do it.
You got to go do it.
To the point where like we kind of hated them sometimes for it. But like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so lucky. Because I know that a lot of people don't have that. And literally had my mom not pushed me to do it, I mean it when I say I wouldn't have done it if it was just on my shoulders. I wouldn't have done it.
It resonates with me. I feel that way about a million different aspects of my life, and I think a lot of the listeners do as well. It takes sometimes that person to just provide that spark of confidence, and that's super cool. I do have a question, a curiosity. How many people showed up to that audition that you ended up getting on the show for?
Oh, gosh, a lot.
I think there's 2.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Both made it.
Yeah, that's right. There's participation trophy for everybody.
No, I think it was, I want to say, so they went all across the country. So my audition was in Salt Lake. Okay. But they did it in I want to say 10 to 12 different cities across the country. And I think at the Salt Lake one alone, there was at least 500 people that show up.
Wow.
Again, anybody can show up. So I wouldn't say it wasn't like
they were all incredible dancers, but
yes.
still, even that in and of itself, it's 500 people. Why would they choose me? I could see the psychology there of you not wanting to do it.
100%.
And Dancing with the Stars, they would have been changed forever if
if
Mindy didn't give that pep talk.
I know. I really I don't talk about So You Think You Can Dance as often because I only did one season and it was so long ago, and I feel like it's not what a lot of people know me for. But
for sure.
Whenever I do, I'm like, that is I owe my career to that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really do.
What place did you get in season?
I was in the top 4 girls. So that season they had 2 winners and they eliminated. So it was I was competing against the 10 girls and then the boys were competing against the 10 boys.
Oh, got it.
So didn't. So it was every week they eliminated one boy, one girl. So top 4, but technically top 8 because there were still
for sure.
8 people in the competition.
Still so cool.
It was really cool.
Still so cool.
Yeah, such a good experience. Crazy. But yeah, I'm that was the start of my career, 100%.
Okay, so here we are, Lindsay. You train your entire life unknowingly that you're gonna get on the biggest stage that there is for dancing. Dancing with us, I don't think there's a bigger dancing platform that exists, right? That's the show.
Yeah.
So here you are. You've trained your entire life, and you get this opportunity to get Dancing with the Stars. What is that transition like? So
that was right after So You Think.
So
right?
I did So You Think You Can Dance, and then I went on tour with the show, and then right after the tour is when I they picked me up.
Okay, and so did you audition for that, or did they just recognize you and said, hey, we want you?
Yes.
Wow.
So Dancing with the Stars doesn't really do auditions.
So they handpick. They look around.
Occasionally they'll handpick a select group and have them come audition. But for that, they had just seen me on So You Think You Can Dance. So they knew how I was on camera. Like So You Think You Can Dance was my audition for Dancing with the Stars. Like that was how they got all the things they needed to know about me to decide if they wanted to use me or not.
So You Think You Can Dance, you were there one season. Mm-hmm. What was the difference in the pace? I mean, you're obviously going from this show to the other. Was there a massive kind of like, oh my God, I got to get my bearings here? Or was the transition
100%.
smooth? Okay.
100%.
Bigger show.
Completely different shows in the sense that like just totally different things being asked of you. On So You Think You Can Dance, I will say, I always tell people like no, that's not true at all. I was going to say I was more stressed on that show, but I was so stressed my first season on Dance with the Stars.
Yeah.
That was the first time being on TV. So in that sense, like I was a fish out of water, just like, what do I do? But on that show, you are assigned a partner, you're assigned a choreographer, they tell you what to do. There's nothing that is your choice. You are literally just there and they just choreograph the dances, teach you the dances, you do them, and then you get judged on it.
Okay.
On Dancing with the Stars, I am now all of the above and the dancer.
Wow.
So I'm
with a dancer that doesn't know how to dance.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so that's one of the things, and we're going to break into that because I think there's so many teaching moments there, Lindsay,
gosh.
with like
I had
taking
to
somebody
learn so much
and
with
molding
that.
somebody. But so you're going from not just being the dancer, but you're choreographer, and you're like putting this entire thing together.
Yep.
You had never done that before.
Never.
So that's a massive kind of like, okay, I've prepared my whole life for the big stage. I think I'm prepared to go in here and play. And now they dump this entire new kind of bag of tricks on you.
Because I mean, when it comes to dancing, I knew everything that I needed to know about dancing myself, but I had never taught somebody before, ever.
Wow.
Never. I mean, I'm 18. I've never taught anybody. So I've never taught, I've never choreographed. I've never picked costumes, designed costumes, chosen music that I need to choreograph a dance to, like just so many things I had never done. And it's like, you get thrown into that and it's like, go. There's the thing that's crazy, and I always mention this, is there's no option when it comes to the job that I've had, like to being on Dance with Hers. There's no option but to do the work.
Oof.
There's no like, I'm having a bad day, I'll tackle that tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like it's go, go, go. There's no time to miss anything. There's no time to like step away. And I feel like that work ethic, like kind of like Donnie said, of dancing, of just like putting in the time, pushing through, like that was so necessary on the show. Because like I said, there's no option. It's going to happen either way. So you've got to be on board and just get with the program.
No question in my mind, had you had not gone through what you'd gone through as in preparation for that you would have been able to do what you did on Dance with the Stars.
100%, yeah.
So, okay, take us through this. Let's put us in a scenario here. So here you are, Lindsay, you're on Dancing with the Stars. You've now been tasked with choreography and training and all of these things. Did you have a moment where you had to just take a breath and say, okay, I've got this, and I'm going to be okay? Maybe walk us through when you finally kind of got your bearings or decided like, look, I have no option. I'm going to push through and make this the best opportunity I can.
I honestly don't know if I could pinpoint a time when that happened, because it was just go.
It was so quick.
It was just go. I literally get the call, I'm going to be on the show. The next day I had to drive down to California with all of my stuff, moving down there. The next day I'm meeting my partner. I'm teaching him in a room.
Wow.
So I feel like, I'm not going to say I didn't grasp it, but I didn't have time to settle and to think and be like, okay, I'm good, I've got this. It was really just, I have no choice, let's go. And that first season was a whirlwind. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't even remember actually living it because it doesn't feel like it actually happened. Like, I'm like, I don't remember that.
It's such a fast pace too.
Well, and I think the whole time I was just like trying to figure it out as I went. But I feel like I'm really grateful for that.
I was going to say, probably a blessing, right?
It was better. I feel like I didn't have time to be stressed and overwhelmed because I just had to do it. Like I had no choice but to just go. And I learned a lot in that. I learned a lot of like how I could surprise myself and like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. And here I am doing it. Like, I feel like it was more of that, of me looking back and being like, whoa, how am I doing this? Like, it's just happening.
Put your back up against the wall and you have no other option but to move forward.
Yeah, which, I mean, an amazing option. I'm acting like I was like, forcing me to do it.
Oh, of course.
But it was more just the mentality of like, oh my gosh, okay, here we go. Figure it out. I don't always know what I'm doing, but we're going to make it happen and just go for it.
Okay, so.
And then 14 seasons, right? 15, 14?
14, yeah.
Let's see. Let's test you here. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Go with all your partners start to finish.
Ooh. Ooh,
That's
okay.
a good one. Let's see.
Okay, first partner, Victor Ortiz. Then I had a brief, not even brief, it was 2 years where I was on Troop for 4 seasons. That was a rough go, I'm not going to lie. That was tough.
Because that's like a backup dancer,
basically
right? Yeah.
I was like at the top, and then I got put down on like backup dancer crew, which was amazing and such a fun thing to do. Learned so much for 4 seasons. Then I come back. I had Alex Garlatos. He like stopped a terrorist attack on a train in Paris a while back.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
He was like thrust into the spotlight. That he had stopped the attack like 2 weeks before being on the show with me. So he was the next one. Then it was Wanye Morris from Boys to Men.
Yo, by the way, I saw Wanye on your list. I got some questions. We're going to have to talk offline about Wanye. Hey, look, I'm a Boys to Men guy. Look,
He's the best.
Back in the day, there's some Boys to Men, Wanye. Yeah, Wanye will put you down.
I was basically on tour with them because they were doing a tour during the season. So I got to see, went to like 8 different Boys to Men concerts, and they're amazing.
You want to land your date player some Wanye.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah. All right, that's awesome. He's the man. He can move too.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
So much fun. He had a lot of experience, and like he was so fun. So Wanye, then it was Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Like just so much fun. We got 3rd place. Then it was
So
David
cool.
Ross from the Cubs. Then it was Jordan Fisher, the one that I won with. And then it was...
Hey, let's not breeze over that too quick here. Now,
Yeah.
I said, Jordan Fisher, what did you won with? Now, so you did win that season. You guys were number 1. So that's like the pinnacle of everything that you're working for.
It was pretty cool.
We should have had her bring it in and put it
know.
on.
Yeah, I'm saying.
It was pretty cool.
That in.
I'm not going to lie. That was special.
Lindsay, take us through that moment. Like what? So again, all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you've put into this, and you're putting this whole thing together, and here you are, and you win. What's that feeling?
Well, it's actually pretty cool because leading up to that, my seasons prior, so the 4 seasons before, I was 4th place, then I was 3rd place, then I was 2nd place, and then I was 1st. So it was really cool and terrifying because I had been in just that season before, I was standing there at the very end waiting to see if they would call our name that we won.
Holy cow.
And I got that like glimpse of like, oh my gosh, I'm so close. And to be honest, I am a very competitive person, but I will say like on the show, like I was like, I would love to win, but I was never that person that like based my success on the show off of that. Because in my eyes, I'm like, it's not always about me. Like you can only do so much with your partner. But I will say after getting 2nd place, I was like, oh, I want that. Like that was the first time I feel like I was actually like, oh yeah, I want to win.
See, I love that because a lot of people could say, well, look, you've already won. You're on the biggest stage in the world. It's like, well, 1st place, 2nd place, you've already won. But because that was one of my questions. Like, Lindsay, are you naturally competitive?
I mean, I think of course I am.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I'm like...
She's not a psychopath like me where like I have to be
You
her
gotta
in
get
any
it.
sport.
Yeah.
I think I just know that I'm awesome. I don't need to win.
We got some kids that practice on our gym, and Donnie goes out there and swats.
Oh, I'm sure he feels real good about it.
Don't let him get an inch.
He's dunking on 10-year-olds. He's like, yes, I got this.
Yeah, you don't care.
But it was a really cool like build up. I think the build up made it even more special, and it was the coolest moment ever. Like I don't know, that was the coolest moment of my career for sure. Because like you said, it was just a culmination of like everything that I had done leading up to that point. And it was also really special because Jordan Fisher was extremely talented. He was a really good dancer.
Yeah.
So it was really cool because the season before I was with David Ross and he was not a good dancer.
Right.
We made it to the finale because people loved him.
He's an awesome
He's a sweet guy.
Such a
and
good
he
dude.
did get better at dancing, but he was not the best by any means. And not to say if I had won with him, it wouldn't have felt as good, but winning when I knew
you were on point.
we deserved it was a really special feeling.
Very cool. And I didn't realize that you were 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and then like what a build up.
I know, it was cool.
That's like you can't write that.
It was
you know
special.
What I mean?
Yep.
Okay, so Jordan Fisher, don't let me rob the rest of the list.
Okay, so Jordan Fisher,
Yep.
next season I was with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so you could not have swapped up more.
Incredible.
I know.
I mean, he's only like 10'6".
I was gonna say, what did you do? You had to dance with him. You had to use a ladder to climb up there.
Literally had to use a ladder. Like it was. I actually, for one of our dances, I was on top of another dancer's shoulders so I could dance with him. And I was just then eye to eye with him.
I'm gonna have to go watch that.
It was crazy. He was 70 years old at the time, 7'2", I think is his actual.
Yeah.
So it was a totally different experience going from Jordan of like dancing hard and then with Kareem.
And
but
your height.
Yeah, and my height. Literally, Jordan was my height. So it was so different, but so much fun. So I had Kareem.
Is Kareem a sweet dude?
The sweetest.
He's got to
the
be
most
like
gentle, sweet, kind old man
real
ever.
Meek
Oh yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah.
I watch him on TV all the time. I see all his interviews and a bunch of stuff that he does. I mean, Kareem's a legend,
He's a
absolute legend.
yeah.
But he
and
seems
I don't
like
think you realized that at first.
Well, I will say he was the first partner that. because all the other partners, they would tell me their name and I'd Google them and be like, oh yeah. No, they said Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I'm like, you're kidding me. Like,
wow.
That's just a name. I didn't watch him. I wasn't like, oh, I'm a basketball fan. I love him. But like, I just feel like he's a name that you know.
Yeah,
like,
you do.
You say that name to anybody and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not so much now. I feel like now the younger generation wouldn't. But like, I knew his name. So that was one of the first where I was like, you're kidding me. But then I was also like, you're kidding me. That's going to be a little crazy. But he was so fun. So it was Kareem, and then it was DeMarcus Ware, which he was so cool.
So incredible. DeMarcus.
So awesome.
Yeah.
And then, oh gosh, how many have I done? Wow.
So you got Victor,
Alec, Wanye, Calvin, David, Jordan, Kareem, DeMarcus.
That's 8.
Oh, okay, next season, Sean Spicer.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Spicer.
Sean
Okay. I was going to
Spicer.
say, I think there's a couple more.
Yep. He was my first like non-athlete, like, I feel like he was the first one that was very different from what I'm used to. He was such a nice guy. It was such a fun season with him. Like, he was just the nicest guy ever. A lot of people hated him, and it was really sad because you're just like, he's a nice person.
Because that was during like all like the presidential stuff.
If you're not familiar, he was
on.
Trump's press secretary.
Yes,
and he
yes.
But like the nicest person.
Nice guy, yeah.
Such a good person. And so I had so much fun with him. I got a lot of heat from a lot of people, but then that was where I think this is going in a different direction, but that was where I first learned like everything is going to have a split 50-50 opinion. As much people hate something,
totally,
the other side is going to love them, or love it. So I feel like that's when I had to start realizing like I've just got to form my own opinions on people, on things, on viewpoints, and just like go with what I want. Yeah.
Can't please them all. We've tried to please everybody, please nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really tough spot.
It's so true.
Is there anybody else on that list?
The last season was Matt James. He was on The Bachelor. He was so fun. We're still really good friends, and it was a good time.
So that was my next.
I did it. I got them all, Donnie.
I
got them all.
You did get them all.
I had to help you.
Yeah. No.
I was going to ask you. You do keep in contact with some of these guys?
I do.
Really?
I still talk to, I'd say, all of my partners at least once or twice a year. Like, we just like follow up with each other. A lot of them I talk to all the time, but I like with all of them, it's really fun. I'm very lucky because that's not always the case. Like some people you learn, and what's also really cool is with a lot of them, like I went pretty far with most of my partners. Like I would say like 80% of my seasons ended in like the semifinals or the finals.
Okay.
So that means I got really close with my partners. Because that's the thing.
You
If you're only with them for a couple weeks, it's like, yeah, you'll be friends, but you're not going to get super close. But when you're with them for the whole season, you get really close.
I mean, especially, so that's one of the things I also wanted to talk about this. So the names that you just mentioned, these are like juggernaut individuals, right? And in their craft, I mean, it's not like these are nobodies. I mean, DeMarcus Ware, he's like a top 5 at his position ever. Calvin Johnson, I think he played 8 seasons in the NFL, and he will be a Hall of Famer only after 8 seasons. Like, he was the best of the best. So here you are, Lindsay Arnold, you're here with all of these guys that have done these incredible things, and you're their teacher.
Yeah.
And in most of these situations, these guys don't dance. They're there to dance.
Yeah.
So, Lindsay, how did you gain the confidence? Where did you come up with the confidence to say, okay, I'm going to lead these men, even though they have a lot of personality?
Yeah.
And was there any friction at times? Give us a little bit of a rundown.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because I think the biggest thing I will say is with practice, it got a lot easier. Like the way I was on my first season, I say this all the time. Like, if I went back to my first season, things would go a lot differently because of the things that I learned. Every single season, chipping away at like gaining more confidence, gaining more this and more that. But the biggest thing for me was understanding the importance of adaptability. Like, every season was different. I would have one season and think like, man, I've figured it out. I've cracked the case. I know exactly how to teach. And then I'd get a partner who learns in a completely different way.
Totally.
And I didn't really think that was a real thing until I started having to teach people how to dance. Like, people learn and respond to everything differently than somebody else does. So every season I'd have to kind of reinvent the wheel of how I approached criticism, how I approached teaching strategies, how I approached like encouragement, because everyone responded differently. So it did take some kind of like give and take of learning, but I think that's something that I got really good at quickly, was just adapting to my partners and their needs.
Which is massive. Adaptability, I mean, in any case,
it's
right?
huge.
Like, it's huge in business, in this business, right? That's awesome.
People are individuals. I don't care where you are. Like, you're never going to find people that just come out of the box the same. You know what I mean? People learn differently. People respond differently. And I think that is, it's a key ingredient in life 100%. To having impact on individuals. It's like you want to be able to spread that impact around to everybody. That takes time. That takes patience.
Yeah.
I think patience, it takes a lot of patience. Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking, here's Lindsay Arnold with DeMarcus Ware, who is a big man.
Yeah.
Who made his living on tearing the faces off of opposing players and quarterbacks, right? And here you are teaching him how to do this craft that you specialize in, and he's following your instruction.
Yeah.
That's true power, right?
Yeah.
That's the ability to leave an impression on somebody, make them want to follow your lead. Congratulations to you for being able to do that.
Thank you.
There's a reason I think that you were on that show for 14 years, because I don't know. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know that everybody deals with the pressure that well.
No, that's huge. That is the biggest thing about being being on the show and being successful at it. I will be the first one to say that I am not the best. My dance ability is not what made me good on the show. I am not the best dancer out there. There are a lot of dancers who are for sure better than me. And I'll be the first to say that. Like, it's not always about just your ability and your talent. There's so much more that goes into it, especially on Dancing with the Stars. Like, you've got to have work ethic. You've got to be committed. You've got to never, ever have moments of faltering on like your confidence and your passion for what you're doing, because there's going to be a lot of times that
a lot of judging.
A lot of judging, a lot of people telling you that you're terrible and you've just got to push through.
Yeah.
I will say, like, more than anything on that show and in just, I think, in the industry that I'm in, like, you've got to have the talent. Yes, that's important, but everything else matters far more, in my opinion, because that's what's going to take you to the next level and help you kind of have a longer career as well.
I love everything about that.
And I think all the things that she just hit on too is, I think that's a well-versed as being a leader, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Like,
Yeah.
I think those are traits that you have to be able to live at that high level. So.
Well, in order to, because like you said, it's like I would walk into the room every season with these very, very successful athletes, individuals, people, confident people.
Yeah.
And if I didn't go in with confidence, even in the times where I'm not confident, like, that's the truth, is there are so many times you're put in situations where you're like, I kind of don't know what I should do here. There were so many times where I'm like, I could take this so many different directions. I don't know which one is the right one, but I've just got to choose, decide, be confident in my decision, and be the leader for this person who has no idea what they're doing. And that was huge. And that, I believe, is the reason that they respected me, that they listened to me, that I was able to coach them. Because had they not respected me, it would be really hard to tell them what to do and boss them around in any sort of way.
Look, you're so spot on with that. Consider that every single person on that show, they are competitive, right? Like, they've got to the position they are in life because they are competitive. Anybody that's competing, anybody that's being coached or influenced, one of the things that they want is they want safety in their coach, and they want safety in their leader. They want to be able to understand that when that person says do this, like, that's going to lead me to the spot that I need to be in.
Totally.
And so, again, major kudos to you. I think we could probably talk for like the next 10 years because I love hearing about this stuff.
It's so fun.
You had a massively successful run on Dancing with the Stars. But Lindsay, you're still rocking and rolling. So obviously you are a family woman. You've got Sam, your husband, Sam Cusick, who's your high school sweetheart. You've been with him forever.
Yep.
You should see pictures of him in high school.
And
should. Lindsay.
I was going to say,
we go way back.
I
got
should.
some good stuff.
So you've got Sam, your husband, high school sweetheart, and then you've got Sage and June, your little girls. I think one is 3 and one is 10 months, right? And these are future Dancing with the Star girls here.
I know. I'm like, we got to keep it in the family.
So Lindsay, talk to us about your transition from this spotlight and Dancing with the Stars to your family life, and you're raising these girls and you have this beautiful family dynamic, but you're also still in the grind. You are doing a lot of incredible things right now with dance and coaching yourself. So talk to us about that transition and what you're doing now.
Yeah. So I decided, it's been, I think 2 years now, that I was going to step away from the show. So the next season was rolling around. Me and Sam, we had just had our daughter Sage. I did one season while I had Sage, and it was just a fully different experience. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I think once, like, I always tell people, after having Sage, my first daughter, my priorities changed so much. The things that mattered to me, the things that I wanted to put my time into, changed so much. Now, that's not to say that I no longer cared about my career after having kids.
Of course.
But it shifted.
Yeah.
I think I just realized, like, where I wanted to put my time into, and the things that used to, like, give me fulfillment kind of didn't fulfill me in the same ways anymore. So I decided to step away from the show for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I wanted to be just focused on family and be here in Utah. Unfortunately, the show does not film here. I tell people, I'm like,
they should.
If they filmed in Utah, I would literally do it till I was a grandma. But having to uproot.
The Arnolds are here. They should. Why would they not film here? The Arnolds are here.
We got you covered here. But yeah, so I decided to step away, which was terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. But prior to that, I had actually taken 1 season off because I was pregnant. So I kind of got a taste of what life would be like without it. And I will say the biggest thing for me was I just want to make sure that I still have things that I'm passionate about that I do for myself. Yeah. And that's when I started to do new things. And that's where I got the idea to start my workout program, the Movement Club. It was actually while I was pregnant with Sage. It was the start of COVID. I was pregnant through all of COVID. So everything was different in my world. Wow. Like first I wasn't dancing anymore. I wasn't doing the show. I'm pregnant. Everything's closed. I'm not able to go to workout classes. I'm not doing the things that I typically do. And I just felt like there was just a missing piece, which I tell people all the time, like if you're looking for something to start to do that's new, like find something that's missing and fill the gap. Like fill the gap for people that you know are probably like you. Because I figured I'm a first time pregnant mom who's kind of lost on what I should be doing to stay in shape, to move my body. And I knew there was going to be other people who felt the same way. So I started a program. I actually filmed 45 workout videos while I was pregnant, launched the program like right after having my daughter Sage. And then we've now had it's been out for a little over 3 years now. Wow. Yeah, we've got an app. Thank you.
What's the app called?
It's called the Movement Club.
The Movement Club app.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And so that was really cool for me because it's my first season not doing the show. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I just knew I needed to have something for myself. So I started my workout program. But then on top of that, I really started to dive into the world of influencing. Before that, I had posted on social media and like done the whole thing, shared about Dancing with the Stars.
Which is massive.
Yes.
Just seeing it, like Lindsay does amazing at it. Like it's a full-time job.
Oh, it's everything.
It's a full-time. Even people on the outside might think like, oh, it's just getting paid to do it. It's like, no, it's a full-time job.
It is. It really, and you can do it in different ways. Cause it's like I was saying, I had done it. I'd been posting on social media. I had a following, but people followed me because of Dancing with the Stars. They didn't follow me for my life, if that makes sense. So I had to kind of make a shift of going like, I've shared dance stuff to now I want to be a lifestyle influencer. I want to share everything. I want to share motherhood. I want to share all the things. And that's where I started, because I had the time. I was like, I'm going to go into this and I'm going to do it. And I'm so grateful that I did because it gave me the stability to decide for myself that I don't have to do this anymore. I have so many other aspects of my career.
Love that.
So yeah.
I think it honestly just elevated your following too. You had this dance where like, let's say you were at 700K, like now you're at 1.5, which is unbelievable. And you've gotten this whole new audience that are just so captivated to Lindsay Arnold.
It's something that I really wanted to like make the shift on because it's hard. It's hard to break out of what everybody knows you for and kind of go a different route. Yeah.
That's scary.
But it's been I feel like it's been such a smooth transition because it's just been very genuine to who I am. Like I don't share anything that isn't me. And so it's really easy and fun and I love it.
Yeah, no. So my wife follows you. She loves you. She watches all your stuff. She watches all your stuff. But no, I think it is a very, very scary thing when you become so good at something and you've gained so much success at something to leave it.
Yeah. 100%.
And your reasons for doing it, you're just like, look, I want to be with my girls, I want to be with my husband, I want to raise my family. I think at least for me, where I'm inspired by you is that you don't just have to do the one thing, right? It's like, I can be that family person, but I can still fulfill some things that I'm passionate about. And I think one of the key things that I took from that is that, look, if you feel that you're missing something, find that passion and then just go out and do it, regardless of your situation. Again, I think, you've had so much success. You could have easily just slipped away and done nothing for a long time. And, but I think it's very inspiring that you didn't, that you're still very much relevant in the space. And again, your viewers and your followers, they do love you. They hang on you for sure.
Well, thank you. I'm really grateful.
Lindsay, look, this has been a treat. I feel like we could go for hours and hours and hours.
Let's do it. Let's stay here all night.
I was going to say, we'll pull it all-nighter. But I do want to tell you, thank you for your time. You are incredibly inspiring. I know that your sister Riley's on the show. I know your sister Brinley well. I don't know Jensen.
She's great too.
You guys are an incredible family. Super successful and very inspiring to all of us. So, Again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Donnie, thank you for being here as always and getting your sister-in-law in here. That's a huge plus.
Oh, yeah, he
we
owes
could have
me
never
big
done it.
time.
I was going to say, we could have never done it without Donnie. I know she's a busy girl now.
No, I'm so excited. This was fun.
This was a good
fun to do.
time. To all the listeners, we'll catch you guys next time. See you tomorrow.
Yay.